Okay, first day back of the new year, and we have a non-running Citroen C4. Is this a Picasso or a normal? I don't know what it is. A Citroen C4 thing, 1 point. No, that's a 2 litre diesel. I hate Citroens. Let me turn this off for a minute. I've come from a background of high-end cars and big German cars. And now me and Paul Reed are stuck doing lots of everyday cars, and they're pretty rubbish, to be honest. So this has come in for... It came in the other day, apparently. The customer pulled onto the forecourt, something wrong with the brakes. Somebody went for a spin with the customer, came back, parked in the forecourt, and it never restarted. And that's as far as they got. So it's been passed on to me. We do our code scan. And what we have got is, so we've got an engine relay unit fault for one of the front side lights, a glow plug relay circuit fault, and another fault for a front side light. I don't know massively on these systems without reading into it, but I'm going to ignore all of them, including the glow plug one, because it was a hot engine when it was running. I'm just going to start with the basics. We'll see how we get on. So first of all, we'll just check some basic stuff. Yeah, stick the ignition on. We're going to go into our live data. Fuel circuit information. Handy. And just for a start, I want to know what our engine speed doing. So we've got correlation, and what the fuel pressure should be and what it is, and the other stuff I'm going to leave for now because I want it to react quickly. I'm going to put the fuel reference pressure and the measured fuel pressure in a shared graph so I can see what they're doing. Okay, do you want to crank it over? You can see that. Okay, let me see if I can prime this bulb up again. The diesel on there is because earlier on, I haven't done much on it, but earlier on I just bypassed the filter housing just to see. Okay, we'll try that again. The pressure was lower. Okay, cool. So we're reading low, very low fuel pressure. That's a good starting point. Let's see what we can go from there. Okay, so I spoke with the guys who were initially working on it. So I was wondering, did they push it onto the ramp? How they got it from the forecourt into the bay? They got it running on a bit of sniff, so I thought I'll test that. Got it up, just fired it up now. You can see it's running. You can hear it's running, and once running, the fuel pressure is reading correctly. So let's take a step backwards. Have a look into how the system operates. Okay, just quickly, I've just flicked it back off and thought I'll give it a crank over. So ignition on, crank it over, and it's pretty much back down to nothing again. So either it's a serious fuel flow restriction, or it has, I'd imagine, something leaking off the pressure. Such as a stuck open injector or some sort of non-return valve somewhere, but I'm going to have to look into how the system works and go from there. And come out. Oh, now that we've had it running, actually, let me just see if we get any fault codes up. Surprised it hasn't flagged any codes for that low fuel pressure. P1351. Pre and post whatever. Okay. Well, I would imagine that employees of the PSA group probably have a higher suicide rate than air traffic controllers. So, due to the fact that we have low fuel pressure on cranking, but once fired up we have plenty of fuel pressure, I think we have something sticking slightly open, so a good bet is to go and inspect the fuel pressure control solenoid. To do that, you've got to take the battery out. To do that, honestly, it takes about half an hour. Just take the fucking battery out. Because I want to test the wiring, test the sensor. But what I have just discovered is that Hdi doesn't have any engine wiring diagrams. Haynes, or whatever this is, through the snap-on, has 2 little bits of information, which aren't ideal. Because I thought there'd be a nice way of checking this without having to drill out the ECU security cover, which has got obviously security bolts. So I wanted to pin that all out and then try and crank it and see what readings I was getting, but then I'd throw all the battery back in and stuff. It's just a stupid idea. So I think I'll try a resistance test first, just to see if the sensor has any continuity. The sensor, by the way, is, move that out of the way. That is fuel pressure solenoid valve. Now I would just be, it's worth checking somewhere to start. I'd be suspicious he's sticking slightly open, which is why we're getting not enough pressure on cranking and an instant drop off of pressure when we stop cranking. But if we put the tiniest bit of sniff in, it fires up, no problem. So I stripped her all out to get access to just plug in the fuel pressure relief valve, or whatever you want to call it. Fuel regulating solenoid, I don't know, people have different names for them. Back there, I'm sure you can see where my pins are going in. I was going to scope it, but while I was there I thought quickly, as soon as because I had to have all this battery and whatnot, all that to come out, I thought I'll just quickly, because it's only 2 Allen keys holding that fuel solenoid thing in place, I thought I'd quickly pop it out and have a look. Popped it out, had a look, nice and clean, no blockages, bench tested it, it was working. So I threw it back in, pinned it out, battery back on, hooked the scope up. I like to have things on a bigger screen, so I just hooked up the snap-on, and fucking works. So obviously disturbed something or knocked something, but it works. This is the signal I'm getting. I'm not 100% confident this is the signal I should be getting because I have no reference data. What I have looked up is had much more data on a Ford Cougar with the same engine. So these are my pulses for the change, opening and closing of that relief valve. And so we had it idling for a little while, then a couple of little revs, just to, here we go, just to see what differences we would get. There we go. Yeah, so a couple of little blips. The vehicle is now running every time. It's not much fun. Oh, what have I done there? Yeah, so you can see I've got it as a Ford Cougar. Anyway, so what else we can find out. Well, I'm currently driving a completely different car at the moment. It is now a week later after initially looking at that Citroen Picasso thing. And I just wanted to give a bit of an update. So as you saw, couldn't find any faults. After that, I played with the wiring, was stressing the wiring, did all sorts of things, and could not get the vehicle to fault again, which leads me to believe that it had perhaps pulled a bit of dirt through the fuel line and caused the fuel pressure relief solenoid valve to stick open partially. As after I did it, after I had it out and popped it back in again, it was perfect. I couldn't, as I took it out, I was very gentle with it, because I wanted to see if there was anything stuck in it, but I couldn't find anything. I tested it on the bench and whatnot, and testing it, you'd get an instant drop off in fuel pressure. Like, you know, when you turn off the engine, it should retain pressure in the system for your next startup. It wasn't doing that. After I'd fiddled with it, it was holding pressure, all indicating that I was on the right lines, but unfortunately couldn't fault it. This does happen, you know, because it's not necessarily a mechanical fault in the system. There was a third party or a foreign object lodged in there temporarily causing the problem. I can't prove that. That's the annoying fact. But I don't want the customer going spending money on a fuel pump or pressure relief valve when I can't prove that's fault either. So the vehicle was operating perfectly, the customer's happy to have it back. A couple of reasons why I took the route I did and didn't jump straight to testing fuel rail pressure sensors, doing injector leak off tests, was common sense. To me, once we've got the vehicle running on the slightest amount of easy start, just to fire it up, everything reads perfectly. The fuel pressure reads exactly as per factory. The injectors were operating, you know, perfectly. No signs of overfueling, underfueling, misfiring. And again, you'd get fuel pressure irregularities if there was an injector stuck open. And diesel knock and all sorts, you know, you just sort of get used to things. I didn't go down the route of a stuck open EGR valve because that wouldn't have affected the fuel pressure in the way it did. I didn't go down the route of the fuel supply. Firstly, there's no lift pump on these, it's just a priming bulb. For example, before I plugged anything in, one of the things I do a lot on these Citroen things is bypass the filter. Filter housings are known for getting tiny little cracks that you can't see with the naked eye and draw in air. I bypass that. However, again, that can be sometimes difficult because when it's running you do get good readings on the high pressure side. The pump is working away. It's when you turn it off and it causes airlocks, but the priming bulb was staying hard, everything was working. So that's the reason I just went straight into, in my head, it was a something leaking off the fuel. So I hope that helps anybody with a similar sort of problem. Just use, to cut down your diagnosing time, just use some common sense and a bit of logic and think, well, the injectors are working when it's running well, working well. It's possible that one is just sticking open when turned off, but you would get some sort of running issue. We know we have good fuel delivery from the low pressure side, so you're looking around the high pressure pump. We know our sensor was working, it's reading bang on. The only other way we could have done that is possibly using a test kit or a transducer. Didn't want to waste my time. In this game, it's, especially if you're busy, it's about diagnosing correctly but quickly. Customers want their cars back, you want their car out of the workshop, you need to earn a living and pay your bills. You need to get it done. You need it done right though, that is the other thing. Sometimes a car, you could have a car for a week trying to find a fault, but at least when you do, it feels like a good result, you find the fault and you do need to bill for your time. Anyway, thank you for watching, if anyone watches. Hope this may help anyone who's trying to figure out how to test diesel pressure, high pressure diesel systems and whatnot. Thanks, I'm going to sign off. Enjoy the rest of my remaining 4-hour journey back home from Yorkshire. Bye.